Well, good afternoon again. Monday again, isn't it? Time's going on. Next week be August. I know evenings are pulling in, but there we are. As long as you're all okay. And thank you very much for all the kind messages last week. Thank you very much. Now, this here little story today is by Herbert Lane and it's called Tatrate. I don't want much breakfast, said Richard Henry. I aren't hungry. You're sighted, that's what you are, remarked Mother. I dunno. Weather don't look too good. I hope don't rain for the children's sake, says Feather. Cuss on, children's sake. You do dirty like a Tatrate yourself, and stop teasing the boy. You used to be a buster for the kissing rings. Do you remember how much you couldn't catch me once? You had new shoes on, and I'd take 'em off and run round in your stockings. Shoes or no shoes, I caught 'ee. In the end, worse luck. I wasn't hard up for a shiner. You wasn't the only pebble on the beach, you know. What time do the school meet, Richard Henry? 2 o'clock, and 'tis rain, it will be put off till next week. Rain? We aren't going to have no rain. I'd rather have a dull morning. Besides, the dew is clinging to the wire netting. That's always a good sign. I hope there will be more currants in the buns this year. Last time there was one currant per bun. No wonder they'd call 'em stesh and cake. Father wanted to know if the boy was going to wear his hobby boots. Don't be so silly. He wouldn't win no prize for racing in they. No, he got a pair of sand shoes, a white blouse and new trousers with a belt. 'Cause there isn't no buttons to help him keep 'em up. Come on, Richard Henry. Help me tidy up and we'll have an early dinner. I want to see the school walk. Aye, if he could walk, I wish he would come down the hill, then I shouldn't have to go so far. Believe I'll have a look at the weather. Come on in, said Mother. If 'tis rain, you'll only make 'em worse looking at 'em. Better call Father and we'll get and have dinner. Dinner? It's some early, isn't it? Asked Father. I could have had another row of tedders. Yes, and I got lots to do. You know what they say, woman's work is never done. Well, that's 'cause they never start, replied Feather. What's the matter with Blackwater Fife and Drum Band? How didn't they have they? They can't play no more than one tune. Bread and cheese and porter, said Mother. We're going to have tune band, 'cause cost a bit more, but they don't eat as much. Now, if you're all finished dinner, I'll wash up and both off and get ready. Where's my bestest necktie, says Feather. You'll have to tie it up for me. You'll have to dress yourself, said Mother. I got enough do. Don't forget your cup, Richard Henry. Tying up in your handkerchief like we used to, and mind you don't scatter. When Mother went upstairs to dress, Feather whispered, Here, boy, here's sixpence for you to spend, and mind not a word to Mother. I shan't say nothing, replied Richard Henry. Fools and their money is soon parted. After a time, down came Mother, all dressed up in her best lavender frock. Why, Father, you've been and forgot your buttonhole. There are some nice buds on the rose tree on top of the garden. You'll only one there without a bit of flower, if you don't. So off goes Feather, and Mother took this opportunity to push a sixpenny piece in Richard Henry's hand, warning him to say nothing to Feather. Turned out fine after all, remarked Feather. I believe 'tis going to be hot. Comes on. All the children of the village were lined up against the chapel with the band at the head. The teachers were rushing round to keep the children in their classes, but as fast as they put one in position, another one would wander. Farmer Giles had loaned his horse and wain for the tiny tots, and some of the men had decorated the wain. Took nearly half an hour to keep the mothers back while a photo was taken for the local newspaper. At last all was ready, and there were 3 beats on the big drum. The procession started to walk through the village and up to as far as Uncle Enna's house, 'cause he always gave him half a sovereign for the school funds, and then back again. The parents and friends were gathered in the field adjoining the chapel to cut up cake, bread and butter, and homemade splits for the grown-ups at the teacher's table. Large saffron buns were provided for the children, with mugs of tea, all steaming hot in earthenware pitchers. They're coming, I can hear the man, said Feather, whose face and hands were as black as coal as he'd been stoking the fire to boil the water. Loud cheering announced that the horse and wain had arrived safely back in the field, followed by the different classes. Richard Henry ran up to his mother to get a piece of string to tie up his trousers. He had to hold them up all the way, for the boy behind in the procession had broken his boat playing horses. And it was a lovely day. All the children had their tea on the grass. A bun was put aside for each sick child that was unable to attend. The moment they had eaten their buns, they rushed off with their cups for mother to look after and started to play. The boys enjoyed jump jacks, while the bigger girls played with the tiny ones until the older folk, including the band, had tea. By this time, many folk from the villages began to come in, for many a love affair was started at Taytrate. "'Tis time for games," said mother. "Ask the band to play something lively, and you start 'em off, Feather." "All right," said he. "We'll have kissing rings for the boys and maidens. Now make a big ring, and all repeat, 'I sent a letter to my love, and on the way I dropped it. One of you have picked it up and put it in your pocket.'" One of the maids started by walking round the ring with handkerchiefs, saying, "'Tidn't you, till she come to one she fancied, and..." Sorry about this. She says, "'Tis you," drops the handkerchief and runs like Billy-O. The chap chases her, and then when he's caught her, he kisses her. Then she takes his place in the ring, and he goes round. When he come to "'Tis you," of course the girl can't run, 'cause you weren't allowed to cross the ring. After all that had been out in turn, it was the time for a rest. On one side of the field was a row of stands with fruit, limpets, sweets, and toys, and roaring business was carried on after each game. The races were now in progress, different ones for the boys and girls according to their ages. Richard Henry had been waiting for this all day, and we seen him lined up with a row of boys waiting for the flag to drop. Feather had been training him for weeks and shouted to him, "Mind what I told thee. 1, 2, 3, and off you go," shouted the starter, and the flag was dropped. "He's all behind," cried mother. "I hope that string is keeping his trousers don't break. Hey, what's the matter with the boy? He's the last one. I thought you said he's a racer and only wanted training." But Father only smiled and made mother worse. "I could run faster myself," said she. At the bottom of the field was a man holding a flag, and all the competitors had to run round him, turn and race back to the starting point. Richard Henry was the last. "He's lost the race, I know he have," says mother. At this point, Richard Henry began to gain speed and was passing the others one by one. He's gaining, shouted mother. "Come on, Richard Henry." Now he only had one more to pass. "'Tidn't fair," screeched mother. "I don't know if that boy is older than Richard Henry." After a few yards, our hero overtook the leading boy, passed him, and raced an easy winner to the post amid loud cheering. Even the band stopped playing to watch the race. "Well done, boy. Go and get your prize. What about a few limpets to celebrate?" suggested Feather. Many were the games played. Doug in the back was a great favourite, with oranges and lemons as second best, until the light began to alter. It was always the old custom to finish with a serpentine march. Everyone in the field chose a partner and marched around the field. The national anthem brought all to a halt. 3 cheers were given for the band, and one all and began to pack up for home. "My feet are aching," said mother. "I wouldn't miss it for all the money in the world. I hope I shall never see the day when we can enjoy a good old Taytrate." Thank you very much.